Jefferson Pilot Sports presents Lee Apparel SEC.
This morning, but the state capitol is rocking. Welcome to our Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week, War Memorial in Little Rock. The Razorbacks hosting number 11, Tennessee. Welcome to a gorgeous football Saturday. Bob Carpenter and Tim Foley. Tim, as up and down as these Hogs have been the last couple of weeks, how do we get a reading on this football game?
I think it's fair to say that they're in an emotional transition. We saw them against Alabama, and they thought they'd hit the bottom and then slid a little lower against Memphis State, but rebounded in grand fashion against Georgia. And if they can keep the option going, they've got a shot against Tennessee.
Well, Philip Fulmer has a great option at his disposal. It is his quarterback, Heath Shuler, completing 65% of his passes this year, and he's only one away from tying the single-season touchdown record at Tennessee.
He's a tremendously gifted athlete, has great leadership ability, but where he's really made progress this year is his understanding of the game. He gets them in the right play at the line of scrimmage.
I'll say 43 points a game worth. Now, the Razorbacks aren't averaging that much. Their season has been a roller coaster. SMU went against the Gamecocks, a disaster at Bama. Crazy Hogs.
Well, we have to be concerned about Arkansas because they've made progress from the beginning of the season and had the big win at Georgia, and you can tell that they're getting better and they've matured. I think their quarterback is continually getting better, making things happen with the option now, which we've played basically 5 teams that had rather throw the football and they'd rather be physical, and that's a concern.
Year, like his team, Barry has had an up-and-down Arkansas season. Bob Kessling on the sidelines and more when we come back to Little Rock. Arkansas 3-2, Tennessee 4-1. Not serious injuries, but nagging injuries. A bit of a concern here today, Bob Kessling.
In the Georgia game, Arkansas quarterback Barry Lenny got his shoulder banged by a make defensive front. Shane Bonham, who had a great game last year against Arkansas, 10 tackles and 3 sacks, missed a day of practice because of a knee injury. He is suited up, should start today, but Tennessee's defensive front could again be very much a key in this game if they can slow down the Razorbacks' running attack.
They lost some great people from last year. Now, the win should be a factor here today. Tennessee has won the toss. They will defer, so Arkansas will have the football. That's the north end zone. Flags whipping in at a good pace from the northwest, it appears. And Arkansas defending the south goal. We will receive the football. 17 miles an hour in that wind. Mid-60s. Humidity nice. Partly cloudy skies and cool here in Arkansas today. A delightful day. The first time these teams met was in 1907 when Arkansas was called the Cardinals. Tennessee beat them 14-2. John Becksford is the Tennessee kickoff man. Orlando Waters, who played the big role in the punt return last year, back along with Carl Kidd for the Razorbacks. So the wind at his back as Becksford lets it go. This one will come down at the goal line for Waters, and he will run it out up the far sideline. He'll break open over the 30, out of bounds in front of the Tennessee bench, and they will mark. Yeah, the kicker, the man who ended up making the stop there so far. Razorbacks open up in the eye. And the give to the first man, and the Volunteers stack it up pretty well. Carlton Calvin, the fullback. Don Strubing playing at center, a true freshman. After the 3-yard gain, the Razorbacks go on 2nd and 7. And there's not much there for Calvin, a 6'2", 222 junior out of Keller, Texas. The Volunteers play a 4-3 defense with Wilson and Morris the booking.
You got a little problem here with the scoreboard.
Backs are split. Money with a long count and a draw play. Off the left side, Oscar Gray into Tennessee territory.
Run, nice hole. First down.
At the 41 of Tennessee, Lunny with a rollout. Goes straight ahead to his tight end, Kirk Botkin. For all of that, the Razorbacks will gain maybe a yard. That's why the guy who plays outside him, Ben Talley, leads the Tennessee team and tackles the right side linebacker. Of course, they're trying to replace Todd Kelly at that position. And not much for Lunny off the left left side as Reggie Ingram came from middle linebacker to make the stop, number 41.
The thing about Horace Morris is he's a pass rusher, and that's what he does best, and he gets upfield. You notice they came underneath him.
Yeah, they pinched him, didn't they?
Yeah, and so what you'll see the defensive coach is doing for Tennessee is gaming him a little bit and trying to confuse the draw blocking of Arkansas.
Another third down play, this time 3rd and 7. Backs are split way wide. You figure they're headed out into a pattern. Lunny looking, fumbles the ball, trying to get it back. It appears he did. Well short of first down yardage. Lunny was feeling his way, and Marius Johnson might have been the guy at tailback who came up with the football.
Lunny coming out, obviously having a problem with his left shoulder. Watch Morris this time. 85 goes inside. Is able to penetrate the pocket. Lunny comes out. The ball gets knocked loose, and he gets hit making the recovery. So he is definitely having a problem with his shoulder.
Doyle Preston, the punter, trying to hang one up end over end. And this one looks good for the Razorbacks. Down around the 1-yard line. Set offense of Tennessee. Schuler, a 6'3" junior from Bryson City, North Carolina. He's completing 65% of his throws this year. He's up over 1,100 yards already. He will be the new record holder for the single-season touchdown pass mark when he reaches 19. Dewey Warren back in 1966 has the record. Dewey is here today. But that's not what Schuler's thinking about right now. He will run it out himself and get 2 or 3 yards before the Razorbacks push him back. The loose changes on the offensive and defensive lines for Tennessee this year. 2nd down and 8. It's Garner off the left side. Not much there. Waylon Wishon was all over him. Out on that right.
Who's one of the emotional leaders of this Arkansas defense is missing from his strong side linebacker position. A hamstring injury. Mark Smith replacing him.
3rd down and 4. Schuler looking, rolling. Nobody open downfield, and the Razorbacks have him at the 6-yard line.
Job by Arkansas. Obviously, this crowd is ready to get behind their Razorbacks. They're ready to see another upset.
They should have good field position here. Tom Hutton in his own end zone. A low snap. Nice spiral. This one hanging up like crazy. Waters fumbles it. And Tennessee appears to have the football. The Volunteers will gain about 39 yards on that play, and Reggie Ingram came up with it after a 40-yard kick fumbled by Orlando Waters.
Nice punt by Hutton, Bob, but it never turned over. And as a result, it started to dip back and drop to the inside. It started to fall away from him there because the nose never rolled over. He didn't make the catch. Tennessee gets the first break of this game.
And a big one. Arkansas had a chance to take early control. Now Schuler's at his own 45-yard line. Single back set. Garner rolling out, but he goes left side. On the catch and breaking a tackle is Mario Brunson, and he's down to the Arkansas 33. Mose Phillips, the fullback, on the reception.
Schuler drops back, finds the open man. Everything's fine now. Make the tackle. They got a 3-yard gain. Missed tackle. Good job of running by Mario Brunson, who doesn't get that many chances. And he picks up, oh, that was Mose. He picks up another 15 yards. He's hard to bring down. Last year, he had a fantastic, unbelievable run against Arkansas. Mose Phillips.
Well, he's a good receiver. 13 catches for 107 coming in. He picked up 23 on that one.
Right.
And a big play on first down. 2 big damaging plays to the home team on the punt and that first down. Now the Razorbacks are backing up at their own 33.
You know, these numbers are kind of difficult to see for Tennessee, and I think Brunson had something to eat before this game. I never saw him run like that before. Wasn't it?
Charlie Garner in the backfield as Schuler goes right side, and he rifles one outside for Corey Fleming. Fleming had 7 catches for 76 yards against the Razorbacks last year, and that's his 19th catch this year. He's approaching a couple of UT records. 7 touchdown catches this year. Alvin Harper has the record of 8, and he's only 3 away career from breaking Harper's record of 16. Second down and 3 for the Vols. He can do a lot of things with a situation like this. They'll go straight ahead, and Charlie Garner's down to the 21-yard line for the first down.
One of the things that was really slanted in Arkansas's favor last year in the Tennessee game was field position. And as the game...
First down at the 21. Schuler with some play action. He'll go left sideline, and a great grab over there inside the 15-yard line. Dean Peavy, the man defending on Billy Williams. What a story Billy is. He's out of Alcoa, Tennessee. Went to JUCO for a while. Caught 68 passes in northeastern Oklahoma. Grades kept him out last year. He had to sit around and watch a lot. But he is doing some kind of job on that Tennessee offense this year.
3 touchdown pass against Florida, 1 last week against Duke, and all big ones.
And Tim, Arkansas does not want to be in 2nd and 3 against Tennessee and Heath Schuler. This is the 2nd consecutive time they've had that. Inside draw. Garner dropped the football. Arkansas has it.
Pops out.
Kevin May's heel got his arm and jarred the football loose. On first down, the Razorbacks at their own 12-yard line. And Marius Johnson gets the call. His rhythm here as we approach the middle of October. Second down and 4 as the Hawks got 6 on first down. Money with a late pick on the flank, and almost getting around the corner was Johnson. Pretty good to the ball. First down for the Razorbacks. Into the belly of Carlton Calvin it goes.
Obviously, Greg Davis, offensive coordinator, thought the fullback looked pretty good on the last play, too.
6:15 to go, first quarter, no score in Little Rock. Out of the eye, Johnson, and he is cracked down hard on a tough defensive play there by Corey Stone, who backs up Shane Bonham at left tackle. Corey himself is nursing an ankle. Number 98 expects to get a lot of playing time today with Shane Bonham nursing a tender knee. Razorbacks will face a 3rd and 2 as Stone and company set up. Arkansas 1 of 2 on 3rd down so far. 44% on the year. Money keeping, pitching. Johnson got it back after fumbling, and if his knee didn't touch down, he's got a first down. What a play by Johnson to get it back and then move the chains. Ball just short of the 40. And again, they go to Calvin on that quick opener. Evidently, the Razorbacks feel that on that left side,
Earl Scott, they're moving some people.
They're going to call it 2nd and a long 5. Money with some misdirection. Johnson tried to cut inside, but Ben Talley was not fooled. Talley, a junior out of Griffin, Georgia, leads the Volunteers in tackles with 33. Also came in with 3 sacks.
Talley something else. He played behind Ernest Fields for a year, and Ernest was a great linebacker, but he didn't have the physical skill that Ben Talley has. A good student of the game and all the tools to be a great one.
Another 3rd and 2 for the Razorbacks. Trying to reach their own 49-yard line. Clock under 4 minutes to go. First quarter. Money, late pitch. Johnson, first down to the Tennessee 46.
I think Tennessee before the afternoon is going to they're going to have to go after him. Know that he's going to get smacked on every play.
Pull back again. Not much there. Good job on the offensive line of tripping up the ball carrier. James Wilson from left end, one of the guys to get there. And let's get our first in-game update. Down the
team every single play.
Second down and 8 on this one. How will he be able to throw? He's done nothing but pick so far. And Johnson on the carry there. Coming up to get him was Raymond Austin, a true freshman out of one of the great high school programs in Oklahoma, Eisenhower in Lawton, Oklahoma. He's getting some playing time behind Victor Brown at strong safety. Lawton Ike, they call it. They've produced a lot of great Division I players. Now it's 3rd down and 5 for Arkansas with 2:45 to go first half. Hogs have the ground game won so far. Another handoff. And evidently Barry Lunney is not able to throw the football very well. They tried a little opener to Calvin, and Paul Yatkowski stayed home to make the stop. That was the 12th play of the Arkansas drive, but worthy of note, on 3rd and 5, they did not throw the football.
And Yatkowski played it very well. That's what they did in their last 3rd and long situation. They ran the draw and they went a ways. Yatkowski got a good outside rush and got an arm on the fullback.
Doyle Preston, a beauty of a 35-yarder that pinned the Volunteers first time. Sean Summers, the deep return man. This is a spiral that the wind hangs up. Can he do it again? No. That ball should have been downed outside the goal line, but the Razorbacks made a mistake there. Ball was carried right into the end zone. It appeared by Stephen Conley, number 94. Volunteers get it back. 1:49 scoreless first quarter. Arkansas got into the Southeastern Conference. Great traditional Razorbacks giving the Volunteers all they want so far. No score. 1:49 to go first quarter. Heath Schuler to Charlie Garner, angling off the left side. Looked like Curtis Thomas from defensive tackle, who was one of the first to wrap up the ball carrier. Got a little help from Gino Bell.
And both these teams have I think a little of an emotional advantage. Tennessee's not going to take Arkansas for granted because of what happened last year to them, and then Arkansas remembers the good things that happened against Tennessee last year, feeling that they can do it again.
2nd down and 6. Schuler to throw up the left side, and it is Corey Fleming for the first down out at the 37-yard line. Fleming's 2nd catch of the day, his 20th of the season.
Let's watch Henry Ford here. Now, Henry's got 10 sacks and the best pass rusher in this Arkansas.
Mays gave a little help from left guard to keep Ford out of that garage.
Right.
1st and 10 at the 37. Garner wiggling his way. Get about 6 yards on that carry. Didn't have much of anything there, but he kept turning those shoulders and turned it into a pretty good gain. Charlie averaging 7 yards a carry coming into this game, and he had a career-long 54 on one carry against Duke last week when Tennessee hammered the Blue Devils 52-19 on homecoming. 5 carries, 16 yards for Charlie. 2nd down and 4. He's got the outside pitch, but the Razorbacks are all over it. A gain of maybe a yard. Dean Peavy was out there to block things up, and that gave Tennessee's 2nd 3rd down play of the day. First one was deep in their own territory, and Heath Schuler can't hear. He will call it. Well, no, that's the end of the first quarter. So the Razorback fans roar through 15 scoreless minutes. And there is no score in Little Rock. Score first quarter on a pass to Kirk Botkin has been it. But the Hogs have run well. Charlie Garner has run well for Tennessee so far. And for Arkansas, Tim, to be tied at the end of the first quarter is a big victory. Razorbacks have been outscored 32-3 in the first quarter this year. And Tennessee has outscored its opponents 47-10. So the Hogs are in a good position.
It's like sleepless in the first half for Arkansas when it comes to scoring. They scored over half their points in the 4th quarter.
3rd down and 2 for Tennessee. Now Schuler will change the play at the line of scrimmage. Can anybody hear him? First man through, Looks like they're short unless the officials let the play continue. That was a quick stop by the Razorbacks, and then maybe the surge got Tennessee going. Mose Phillips, the fullback, on the carry. We'll see where they spot it. And according to where the official is standing, the Volunteers have made it.
You're exactly right. The Razorbacks had it stuffed at the line of scrimmage, but an excellent job of running by Mose Phillips. And some pushing by the right side of that Tennessee line. Smith and Ratliff pushing away, pushing away, pushing away, and he just keeps right on moving. Charlie Garner gets in there and helps out.
Yeah, give an assist to Charlie on that carry. Looked like a rugby scrum for a first down. Flushed out, up the middle, and he's got a man. And the ball is broken down inside the 25-yard line. And it was Craig Faulkner on the reception, good for 27 yards. He's averaging 18 per catch.
Schuler comes out of there looking for Fleming on the corner route. See Fleming running a corner at the top of your screen, comes back across the field, and there's Faulkner. And this young man's just an extremely intelligent receiver with deceptive speed.
First down at the Arkansas 21. Schuler to Garner. Big hole up the middle. And he's down near the 5. That was a similar play to what they ran at the other end of the field when Garner fumbled. But he held on this time, and the hole was just as big.
Fumble is a rare thing from Charlie Garner. Great position there by Ratliff on the backside. Get a little bit of over pursuit on the strong side of that formation, and Garner blasts down there. Orlando Waters keeps him out of the end zone. I love the way this guy runs. You know, he looks like he's running with his trunk open because he's got that flapper thing on his back. Just runs with tremendous intensity.
They like to call it the orange zone, but only in Knoxville. They've been great in scoring situations, and getting down near the goal line and almost scoring was Mose Phillips. Marcus Adair from right end on the stop.
Mose is a fine runner. You know, he has showed some power in this game, showed some elusiveness previously as we watched him in his career, and he's got great hands. So he's really multi-dimensional at the fullback spot.
3 tight ends. Phillips, Garner behind him in the backfield. Schuler will go it alone, and he will score. Heath Schuler with his first rushing touchdown of the year. And the Volunteers are on the scoreboard 2 minutes and 1 second into the second quarter.
So those Volunteers push off there. Mays on the left, 67, and that's where he goes. Not quite enough depth of penetration by the defensive line. Up a little high, and they got slid back a smudge, and that's all they needed for a score.
Here's Becksford looking for his 90th consecutive point after. That's 4th best in SEC history. A 9-play, 80-yard drive, and the Volunteers lead the Razorbacks by 7.
Jumped on top of the Razorbacks 7-0. Arkansas, of course, trying to break a 4-game losing streak here in Little Rock. Danny Ford encouraged the Razorback fans to come out early. They had a pep rally here before the game as the team came in. Danny Ford's hoping his team can play better at home.
You know, thank goodness the people. We're trying to get some enthusiasm pumped in this football program, and they were great coming in. Some of the guys said in the dressing room, said, well, if you can't get ready to play now, you never will. And that's been a problem with us getting ready to play down here in the last 4 ball games.
So Danny Ford's team's got to battle back today as they're trailing Tennessee early in the second quarter.
Might have been different, Bob, had Orlando Waters not fumbled that punt. They would have had great field position after Tennessee had to start in the shadow of its own goalposts. Now, 2 possessions later, the Vols have scored to make it 7-0.
But what Danny Ford, of course, is trying to get across to his team is, you know, this is a long way from over, man. I mean, we were farther behind than this last year at this time. 7-0 at this point, nothing. That's not a problem.
Well, it is breezy out there today. John Becksford has the ball blow off the tee on him. Well, okay, more than breezy. And this is not that high of a stadium. War Memorial Stadium has maybe 20, 25 rows before you reach up to the top. Not one of those towering structures, and so the wind will get down in here and be a factor in this game. Becksford against that wind, angles it to the far sideline. Carl Kidd pulls it down, looks for room in the middle, and he'll stumble right near the 20-yard line. They're calling it the game of the century. There's been a lot of those the last couple of years. It's been a short century. But Florida State looks great against Miami at home, 21-7. And from the ACC, North Carolina trying to bounce back, leading Wake 17-3 second quarter. And for all the latest scores in college football that you're after, call our Jefferson Pilot score line at 1-900-267-5757, $1 a minute. And you youngsters, make sure you get your parents' permission. We had a great response to our score line last week. First down, Lunny swings it out to the right side. Dexter Hebert couldn't handle it. By the way, one other SEC game in progress right now, not a conference game, but Georgia's at home against Southern Miss, and they are scoreless early in Athens.
Dexter couldn't handle it, but George reminded him of what's going to happen if he does. This is George Kidd out here, number 42. He's a former tailback. Whack. Couldn't quite stop his momentum before he got to Dexter, the true freshman.
Yeah, that's what they all say. 2nd and 10. When you get Hole for Hebert, who had 51 yards on 9 carries at Georgia last week. A true freshman out of Kelly High School in Beaumont, Texas.
George Kidd tracks him again. Good block there. Holding out Wilson. Now Hebert turns upfield, and there's George Kidd again. Good job by Kidd.
Now it's 3rd and 5 quickly for the Razorbacks. In protection, Lunny sits in there, and he's got Kirk Botkin on the far sideline for a first down. Botkin with his 2nd catch of the day, the 78th of his career, number 8 on the all-time Arkansas list.
First down.
77, 78, as you pointed out, career catches for Botkin. And as Danny Ford said before, he's never had anybody play for him that can block and catch as well as Kirk Botkin. That young man can find the opening in there.
And that was a typical play. He averages 9.3 per reception. That one covered 9 for the first down. Quick opener, Oscar Gray, and a flag in the backfield. Oscar might have moved a little too early in anticipating his first carry of the day. Oh, we can't hear him, but you can see it's illegal motion. South Carolina, by the way, is at home against East Carolina today. And that one is scoreless in the first quarter. The other SEC team besides Georgia and these two currently play. I think Rakoff needs to win that one today against Southern Miss. After the Razorbacks surprised everybody in Athens a week ago.
Coaching is an emotionally strenuous place to earn a living. It's tough, and Danny Ford knows that. Tremendously successful at Clemson, trying to establish those same attitudes here in Arkansas. And Phil Fulmer, of course, doing very well at Tennessee.
Waiting a long time for his chance. Oh, there goes Oscar. 6'2", 250. And he was moving that time. He had a high school in Houston, a junior. 2nd down and 3. He got 12 back on first down. Not much there, though. Looks like James Wilson, the left end, was there. Paul Yatkowski, the right tackle. Number 99 getting up. He helped stuff that play. Shane Bonham at left tackle also in.
3rd down and 2.
This Tennessee defense is 4th in total defense in the SEC. 3rd versus the rush, and 8th against the pass. You see Shane Bonham there, the youngster from Fairbanks, Alaska. This is a summer day to him.
Yeah, he's got sunlight. 3rd down and 2. It's Lunny. We'll keep it. First down. Tennessee 40-yard line before he's upended.
Until the Georgia game, because that offense against Alabama and Memphis State had been far less than anything close to productive.
17 yards on that first down. Lunny wants to throw. Left side, man open, and he's got Oscar Gray. First down at the 18. Razorbacks 39 yards on the last 2 plays. And that one snuffed out pretty well by Corey Stone. Oscar Gray on the carry.
But that's how that if you're not with your man, I mean, if you're not in the area, the idea is you want to concentrate on getting there. And that's what Talley was trying to do. And Lunny zipped that one in there. As time goes on, as he relaxes a little bit more, he'll put a little bit more altitude on that ball, and that could have been a touchdown.
Razorbacks okay in the red zone this year. Most of that comes in the 4th quarter. Lunny tried to pitch, and he was being bear hugged at the time by Shane Burton. And Burton backs up James Wilson on the left side, a sophomore.
And that's the correct way to play it. Good job. Either just take him out right now, just pow, punish him. That time Shane Burton just wrapped him up and didn't permit him to release the football. Lunny's going to try to get rid of it. Burton kind of jams it back into his chest, gives a little squeeze.
Yeah, Barry was very fortunate to keep the ball with Burton making the outstanding play. Now it's 3rd and 15 for Arkansas. Lunny looks right side. He's got a man, but he is, yes, in bounds. Tracy Caldwell.
This ball by Barry Lunny. Good coverage by Tennessee. Not much room to slip it in. And he gets 1 foot down.
In the touchdown position. They split the backs. Not much there for Hebert. A little gamble by the free safety, Jason Parker, and it paid off big time. Parker, a sophomore, former All-American free safety and option quarterback out of Garland, Texas, a Dallas suburb, and Lunny wants to stop things and talk it over with 8:15 to go in the first half.
I have more courage than I do.
Bill's seen the Razorbacks play a lot here in Little Rock. Well, our game from War Memorial Stadium today brought to you in part by your local Toyota dealer. I love what you do for me. Toyota. 2nd down and 6. When play resumes. Long drive for the Razorbacks and 12th play of the drive. Oscar Gray shifting to the other side. Yeager a shift. Lunny in trouble. Uses his speed to escape and throws it low, incomplete.
That is exactly the pass he hit against South Carolina for a touchdown. Originally, for a moment, you see him run into the corner. Let it go now. But, aha, Horace Morris is in his face. He can't let it go. Tries to throw it back underneath. But Gray was just not open, and Ronald Davis couldn't hold on.
Tim, this 3rd and goal from the 6. Touchdown, Gray! Hard to believe a guy 250 could be that wide open. Somebody had
Barry Lunny find the open man.
8 capped by the 6-yard touchdown pass. And the Razorbacks have drawn back even on a good-looking day in Little Rock. They've been outscored by their opponents 34-16 in the 2nd quarter this year. And ball was teed up by Dean Peavy. They may have to keep doing that. Lance up. Neighboring states that had only met in football 3 times in 85 years until last season. James Littleman Stewart is in the backfield for Tennessee. He's got the ball from Heath Schuler. Oh, what a play by big number 90 of Arkansas
Defense, because they're not going to line up in what they're going to end up in.
Loss of a yard on the play. Schuler out to the left side, and he's got Corey Fleming at the Arkansas bench, the 45-yard line.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Lewis Campbell, the secondary coach, had to have a heart attack on this one. They're trying to get Tracy Cantaloupe some work at left corner. He was sucked way inside. There's nobody close to him. Look, if Fleming would have just kept running, there was no one there. My golly.
Finally, Carl Kidd had to come over from free safety to force the runner out.
Peavy is back in the game again at right corner, of course.
Schuler 6 for 6, 93 yards through the air. Here comes a reverse. They fake it to Billy Williams, and there it goes long up the far side for Faulkner. He's got it at the 2. Greg Faulkner got behind Orlando Waters, who might have hesitated just a moment when they saw Billy Williams coming around on the reverse.
When you see this happening as a defensive back, just turn around and run. Especially when you've got Batman throwing the ball, Superman putting it out there. My golly, I mean, Waters probably thought he was as deep as he had to be. Faulkner knew better. He knew that Schuler could get it downfield. Big play for Tennessee.
First and goal for the Vols. And that is a fumble off the goal line, but it's a touchdown for James Stewart. Stewart was in the end zone before the ball shook loose. And the Volunteers answer the Arkansas score in a hurry with an 80-yard, 5-play drive.
Brunson leading the way. Vernon Wade comes in, gets a good shot. Looked like he made it in on his first surge.
And now that's 91 straight for John Becksford. And with 6:50 to go in the first half, the Volunteers have shocked the Razorback crowd and Danny Ford, leading by 7. James Stewart not in.
The last time they were down here, Garner had a hard time holding on to it. Now James Stewart making his leap, spins off, and now they say he's in there. Alfred Jackson whacks him, and the ball comes out. Recovered by Ireland, or it's right in the middle of those Razorbacks there. So I think you'd call that a break for Tennessee. That was a close call.
Vols lead 14-7. Becksford hangs one up. It's Kidd at the 7. And the Volunteers cover well. There wasn't much form over on that short side. And the Razorbacks will have it at about their own 21-yard line after a 14-yard return.
Philip Fulmer's wondering, who do I put in when we get down there around the goal line? Find somebody that can hold on to the ball. What's going on? Don't you guys know how important this is?
And we do stand corrected. Not a 5, but a 4-play 80-yard drive. Took only a minute 13. And the Vols are right back on top. Lunny keeping on first down. And some yardage off the right side. Reggie Ingram from middle linebacker, the outstanding senior out of Whitehaven High School in Memphis on the stop. Clock is under 6.5 to go before halftime. And coming up at halftime, Bob Kessling will have our usual look at the week in the SEC. Them have been here in the second quarter. Second and 6, Carlton Calvin.
The tackle. Yeah, his range may not be what you want it to be in terms of pass defense, but as far as a leader goes, the man that keeps these guys into the game and makes the right calls for Tennessee, not going to find a better one than the man out of Memphis, Tennessee, Reggie Ingram.
Quarter. They do not want Tennessee to have it back.
Dr. John Tinker.
Tennessee appears to be getting better and better on offense each week as they develop. It's going to be quite a battle next week as they take on Alabama.
Yeah, I made the mistake of asking Philip about that game yesterday.
What did he say?
thinking about the Crimson Tide. I knew that was the answer I would get, but I asked anyway. And there's Lunny off the right side. He appears to be to the 31. Not the SEC. Bob Kessling on the sideline.
One thing to watch is the Tennessee defensive front. They've already played 8 down linemen in this game. Tennessee, if you remember, in their 4 wins have all been pretty lopsided. They've had a chance to play a lot of players. The problem is they haven't really been tested up front in a big game except Florida. So look at all the backup players today and how many are getting in here early to get their feet wet for what they think is going to be a tough fourth quarter.
Yeah, we've seen Corey Stone, Shane Burton with playing time up front. Lunny, lots of time. Down the middle, and it is broken up. Pass interference. Cotto Cotton was the intended receiver, and
Stride for stride. Lunny throws it up there, and there's a collision. There's a collision there, but from a defensive standpoint,
Here we go.
Ronald Davis was going for the ball.
Now, like I've said earlier, if the receiver's conscious, no penalty in the Tim Foley book of coverage. First down at the 46.
That's the last thing I told those officials. No pass interference.
Haven't seen Marius Johnson carry the ball in a while. That was him off the left side. So the clock runs with under 4:50 to go in the first half. Arkansas and Tennessee have both been good on first down. Vols have just been better.
Second and 8.
Razorbacks have averaged 6 yards on first down. The Vols have doubled that. Only 2 that time. It'll be 2nd and 8. Lunny looks at the defender and tosses to Johnson. Oh, what a great open field play there. Victor Brown from strong safety with his 5th stop of the day. And that's at least 2 that he's had that have been nothing but open field one-on-one.
You see, Tennessee is coming on that play. There's man-to-man coverage, and Victor Brown moving to the outside instinctively to stay with Marius Johnson.
3rd down 5.
Well, Victor had to back up J.J. McCleskey last year, and now he's getting his chance as a senior. Came in number 2 in tackles in the Vols, 26 tackles, and he has 5 more today. 3rd down and 5. The Razorbacks 5 of 9 on 3rd down today. Lunny out to the right flat, and the ball bounces off the hip of Oscar Gray. Out there on the coverage was George Kidd. And the Razorbacks will kick it away with 3:38 to go. That'll make the fans down in the southeast corner of the stadium happy. A lot of orange down there. Tennessee was allotted 8,000 tickets for this game and sold every one of them. Sean Summers, the return man. Doyle Preston, a 39-yard average on the year. This is a boomer. Way out of here. They get 51 yards on that one. I'll make it 49. It was at the Tennessee 49, not the Arkansas 49. So the Volunteers get it back with 3:30 to go before halftime, leading by 7. The announcers for this game select Kessling, War Memorial Stadium, Little Rock. Volunteers 14-7 over the Razorbacks. James the Little Man Stewart on first down.
I think it's safe to say that 3 minutes is enough time for Tennessee to get on the board again.
Well, I guess so. There are 2 touchdown drives today, 3 minutes and 50 seconds over 80 yards. And the next one, 1:13 over 80 yards.
This is such an explosive team. They do so well, and as long as you got a man like Heath Shuler making the decisions, he's not going to put the ball at risk. The idea is keep driving, keep moving, keep letting that offense produce.
3 wide receivers. Faulkner the crossing pattern, and he couldn't hold on. Alfred Jackson, the strong safety, on the coverage, and that is Heath Shuler's first incompletion of the day, coming 2:48 before halftime. He's now 7 of 8 for 146 yards.
Good coverage by Jackson. Also had a little help from Darwin Ireland falling off back in there and trying to get into the action.
Third down and 6. Draw play. No way!
team.
Waters and Kidd back to receive the kick of Tom Hutton. A left-footed spiral that gets some good distance. Oh, and they let it hit. They let the ball hit at the 40, and it's all the way down around the 26 of Tennessee. Arkansas, not a very good job on punt returns today. One fumble, and then that one falls untouched and gains about 14 more yards on the bounce. A 54-yard kick.
Confidence is a fragile thing. Orlando Waters had dropped the last punt he tried to field, and that was a catchable ball. Might have had a little problem with the glare from the sun, but you know, Orlando, being the player that he is, should have been under that one and catching it.
First down at the 26. Lunny will give it to Gray. A couple of yards off the left side. Speaking of the sun, some of our stations at this time of the year experience video and audio problems due to satellite interference. We ask that you not contact your local station. The problem will correct itself shortly. We're in the state capital of Arkansas, War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock. A minute and a half to go in the first half. Razorbacks second down and 8. Lunny left sideline, and the ball is caught. J.J. Metters, the junior accounting major, a perfect 4-0 for today through nearly the entire first half.
Well, I think they have to feel good about what they've accomplished so far. Offensively, they're looking very competitive. We saw them look fairly inept against Alabama. Today they're playing solid.
First down at the 41. Lunny. Oscar Gray wasn't going far anyway. That's a play when you might have gained a yard or two. You might be better off with the incompletion and the clock stopped.
Yeah, as long as Reggie Ingram's there, there's going to be somebody pedaling around that short middle area. Reggie probably isn't going to get 20 yards down the field. Good job.
Second down 10 with 1:09 to go. Razorbacks would love to have that tying score before halftime. They want to make sure they keep the football in it, at least keep it a 7-point game. Kurt Botkin has it. A beautiful throw right down the middle. And clock runs again after they move the chains. Lunny out to the left side. Johnson, get out of bounds, they say. And he does.
Greg Davis has to be proud of the way his guys are playing.
He can do some things on 2nd and 1. He'll do the draw play to Gray. First down to the Tennessee 24-yard line. 30 seconds to go before halftime. All the scoring in the second quarter. A Heath Shuler 1-yard run at 12:59. An Oscar Gray 6-yard reception at 8:03. And then 1:13 later, James Stewart in from 2 yards as Shuler moved him down the field with a big pass play to Craig Faulkner.
And there you saw Rocky Felker talking to Barry Lunny there. And
7th play of this 51-yard drive. First down at the 24. Razorbacks were in the eye. Johnson goes out to the left side with Gray staying home. Lunny looking up the middle, and that ball is intercepted inside the 5 by Jason Parker. His 3rd pick of the year. Kurt Botkin, the intended receiver, but the Volunteers had him triple teamed.
they put the tailback in motion to try to get man-to-man coverage on Botkin. Jason Parker, a very aware player, obviously. Wasn't going anywhere. He stayed in the middle of the field, played it well. The ball drifted downfield, and he makes the play on a nice job. They tried to get one-on-one coverage by spreading out the Tennessee defense.
Parker's 3rd this year, 7th of his career, and he's only a sophomore. Shuler will kneel on it. Razorbacks cannot stop the clock. So the first half should come to an end with a disappointed but not frustrated Arkansas team trailing by 7.
On that throw there, you just have to make sure where the free safety is. If the free safety doesn't work to the strong side, then you're not gonna get that little lob in over the top.
Those are Arkansas fans cheering. They are very happy with the way their team has battled against the number 11 team in the nation through the first 30 minutes. Let's get down to the sidelines and Bob Kessler.
Tough game in the first half.
We knew it would be. They're a good football team, and we've got to get the ball back more for our offense because we've done fairly well. Wasted one opportunity early, but we'll get it corrected.
Played a lot of folks on defense. You expect a tough second half, I guess.
Absolutely. It's not going to change. We're going to have to play our best to win.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Coach Philip Fulmer, the Volunteers, his team goes to the locker room, leading here at halftime, 14-7. Back with our halftime activities from Little Rock in just a moment.
(14-7) at the half. Bob Carpenter back upstairs with Tim Foley. It's going to be a tough second half, folks. He's got the leather on, ready to strap it on here. Tim, what are your impressions of the ball game now halfway through?
Well, I think if you're Arkansas, you got to feel good about where you are right now. You've controlled the ball for almost 19 minutes of the first half, so your plan is working. Tennessee hasn't had the ball that much, but when they have it, they're scoring in a hurry. So if Arkansas can just stay close, and they're, of course, playing the upset role here, if they can just stay close till the fourth quarter, they've been successful so far this year in the fourth quarter scoring points.
Quick strike capability certainly has been a big part of the Tennessee game plan today. Heath Shuler, a 1-yard run, his first rushing touchdown of the year. That came early in the second quarter, and then Barry Lunney found his man, Oscar Gray, for 6, and the Razorbacks tied it up. But this right now is the play of the day so far. Heath Shuler to Craig Faulkner for 53 yards.
Faulkner loses it momentarily in the sun and makes the catch. Big play.
And then just a play or two later, James Littleman Stewart in from 2 yards out. 6:50 to go before halftime. And the Volunteers cap an 80-yard, 1-minute 13-second drive by going up 14-7. A look at our Rico halftime stat shows Arkansas has more first downs, more yardage on the ground, but Heath Shuler has been outstanding. He's 7 of 8 for those 160 yards. Home team, a key thing for them, Tim, has been time of possession. Razorbacks have done a good job of keeping it away from the Volunteers today.
Yeah, they have, and that's got to continue. Barry Lunney has made some good decisions.
Philip Fulmer 8-1 as the head coach of Tennessee after his 4-0 last year when he came on late with a win over Florida after the early wins over Southwest Louisiana at Georgia. Florida the other early one, and then of course Boston College in the Hall of Fame Bowl. He has his team ranked number 11 in the nation. Alabama in Birmingham coming up next week for the Vols, but they've got 30 tough minutes of football ahead here in Little Rock before they can even start thinking about the Crimson Tide. Lance Ellison will kick it off. You remember, Tennessee won the toss in the first half and deferred, so they get the football. Charlie Garner on the return and out over the 25-yard line before Anthony Hicks, a strong safety on special teams, knocked him down.
The ball is at the 28-yard line.
You know, Phil Fulmer's mentor, Johnny Majors, taking on Notre Dame today.
Oh, boy.
So has the head coach of Pittsburgh. Fulmer has a different style than John does. Both extremely knowledgeable football men, but Phil is, you can say Phil is a little bit calmer.
Johnny's record 1-3 up at Pitt after he won his first game. Heath Shuler rolling out to the left, up top, and he overthrew his man. That would have been a touchdown for Craig Faulkner. That is one of the few times you'll ever see Heath Shuler miss a wide open man.
And he was wide open. He got jammed as he went out into the flat, and then as he turned it upfield, nobody went with him. You can see him running in the open, back behind the coverage. Shuler puts a little bit too much of a line on it. You know. Well, see, most guys would be jumping up and down. There's the reaction of a guy that knows he's good and it won't happen again.
Well, he's got 3 wide receivers this time. He'll look right side toward the sidelines. He threw it away up over the top of Corey Fleming.
Good job that time by the Arkansas secondary. With the play action, they stayed in a rotation to Fleming. Waters had jammed him. He had deep help. Schuler had completed that pass early in the first half. But it was not there this time. It wasn't there. So he just fires it away. He reloads and fires it away.
3rd down and 10. 5 wide receivers. Schuler with time over the middle. And he's got Nilo Sylvan.
There's a penalty flag down, and one of the 5 wide receivers was doing a little inching as the ball was snapped. That was an interesting look. I'm not sure if that was Philip Fulmer's look or if one of those guys lined up in the wrong place. But they were kind of squinching around right as the ball was snapped, and that's what the official called.
Only the 2nd penalty of the day against the Volunteers. They rushed for 100 yards on the ground in the first half and have come out winging on the first 3 plays in the second. 3rd down again. It'll be 3rd and 15 this time.
There you see the 4 wide receivers to one side.
He's looking up the middle, and it's Nilo Sylvan again. Del Delco right there to meet him, but a great throw by Schuler, and a Tennessee first down out to the 45-yard line.
Henry Ford had Schuler on his back in the secondary. There you see the 3 of them together. Okay, let's split up, boys. And there they go. Sylvan, he finds Sylvan down the middle. Nice catch by Sylvan. Good stick by Delco. Now watch Schuler. Henry Ford's going after him, and he goes down.
4th catch of the year by Nilo Sylvan. It was good for 22 yards. First down at the 45. Schuler, they're coming, and he throws it and completes it. And a quick hit on Billy Williams by Dean Peavy. But Schuler did a good job to unload it. And they're having a few words back in that Tennessee backfield. Some of the offensive linemen don't like the way the Razorbacks pinned those ears back and started coming after Schuler.
Schuler sees it coming. You see, Wright gets the contact, but Schuler gets it off. And this is a well-drilled team, and you've got a very knowledgeable guy getting the snap from center. He can see those things coming, and he knows where to go with the ball.
2nd down and 4 at the 49 of Arkansas. Charlie Garner the call, and nothing there because Marcus Adair was there from the razor end position, they call it. Former All-American out of East High School in Memphis, who went to Air Force originally, was a WAC newcomer of the year for the Falcons 2 years ago, redshirted last year, and here he is starting for the Razorbacks. 4 sacks as well.
He's a pilot, too.
Well, you got to be to go there. You got to be able to fit in the cockpit to go to Colorado Springs. They can't recruit huge players there. Beats Schuler out to the right flat, and it's out of the hands of Mose Phillips. Orlando Waters with corner coverage. And the Volunteers will have to kick it 2 minutes and 17 seconds into the 3rd quarter. Of course, Philip Fulmer, the former offensive line coach, those guys come off the field, they're always the first ones he's looking for.
Right, he produced some good ones, too. He had 9 All-SEC players, 4 All-Americans, and he brought in Steve Marshall to tutor the offensive line, of course. That's a great coach.
See what the Razorbacks do with this punt return. Now, that is a high kick. Anybody who tries to catch that's crazy. And it will bounce dead at the Arkansas 7, maybe the 8-yard line. Hung way up there by Tom Hutton, and the Razorbacks, down by 7, have it back.
14-7, the Volunteers put their 5 wideouts in. That was one of Danny Ford's big concern. Tennessee's speed, so Arkansas's defense trying to make adjustments to that speed right now and making sure Tennessee didn't get the big play against them.
We don't run as well as they do. I told our young players this morning after breakfast, just try to keep them in front of them. Just please keep them in front of them and take good angles, because if we mess up on an angle or pursuit angle or something like that, they'll run by us. So we got to keep everything in front and tackle up and tackle well and try to strip the ball from them.
Greg Faulkner has gotten behind the Razorbacks twice today. Once for a 53-yard play to set up a touchdown. Once on first down in this quarter that could have been a touchdown. First down at the 8. Razorbacks way back there after a 41-yard kick. Volunteers showing some blitz. Fumble, ball on the carpet, and it looks like Ben Talley has it for Tennessee. Reggie Ingram the hit to knock the ball loose from Marius Johnson.
Well, both sets of running backs on both teams having a hard time hanging on to the football. Good job by Reggie Ingram.
And Ben Talley to pick it up. First fumble recovery of the year. These are the kind of mistakes that kill you against good football teams. Schuler, play action, right side, and a touchdown. Craig Faulkner, right over the hands of Orlando Waters. And Faulkner with his 5th touchdown catch of the year. It came on first down, an 11-yard play.
Little play action here. You see Brunson set up to help Schuler roll out. Waters goes up, probably tips the ball momentarily, almost made the catch, but Schuler drops it in over the top.
And that's 92 in a row now for John Becksford. And only 2:45 into the second half. Tennessee now leads it 21-17.
Faulkner had a TD catch in the first play from scrimmage versus Duke, and boy, that's just on the money. Faulkner is very aware of where he is on the football field all the time, drops down, makes a catch.
And I said 21-17. Of course, it is 21-7 Tennessee. And Schuler has tied the all-time Tennessee single-season touchdown pass mark of Dewey Warren, set back in 1966 with his 18th of the year. His 29th career. He's got a little ways to catch Andy Kelly, who threw 36 between 88 and 91.
David Cutcliffe has done an excellent job training this young man to react intelligently. You know, in practice they run little drills. He tosses him the ball, and then Schuler's got to throw it to the right guy. David will tell him, middle linebacker's blitzing, where do you go? That's got to become more than just knowing what to do. It's got to become just a reaction. You don't have to think about where to go. You just go there.
At halftime, I talked to John Ward, the longtime radio voice of the Volunteers, who's seen a lot of great athletes in Knoxville. He said this is the best pure quarterback he has ever seen in a Tennessee uniform. Others might have been better athletes. Best pure QB he has ever seen. Kickoff taken by Cotto Cotton at the 10. And he'll get out of bounds up around the Arkansas 25, maybe the 26-yard line. They'll give him a 16-yard return. And now the Razorbacks have to take care of the football and try to get a scoring drive going. You know, Tim, this game has changed dramatically the last couple minutes of the first half, and now here the opening minutes of the second half. Arkansas had a chance to tie the ball game, could not get it in before halftime, and then the big turnover right out of the locker room puts them down by 2 touchdowns.
And it's tough for this type of offense to recover from that type of deficit. But they came back against South Carolina. They came back against Georgia, so they have that spirit.
First down, ball not quite to the 26. Lunny, a late pitch. And Hebert has it. He is cracked down hard. Is Reggie Ingram in on every tackle today? Or is it just my imagination? I mean, this guy is covering all over the place.
He can get there. And remember, we talked about having to, hit the quarterback. He gets whacked this time. Watch Barry Lunny. And you want to try to shake up the pitch. You take down the quarterback. Now, that's fair, and that's the game. It's a tough game. And bango, then Reggie Ingram puts it on Johnson.
Boy, did he. First down at the 38. Into the belly of the fullback, Carlton Calvin. And he'll be right out onto the Razorback logo that starts at about the 42-yard line.
There's 2 things that happen when you smack the quarterback like that. One, of course, it's going to shake him up a little bit. The other thing, it's going to shake up your offensive coordinator. You don't want your guy getting punished in that fashion on a consistent basis. So
Second down and 5. Ball at the 43. Lunny does a 360, pitches it to Hebert. Tripped up on the play by Jerron Jenkins, the left corner. But the Razorbacks have it very close to another first down.
You got to come at it with different ways. Sometimes you take the quarterback with the defensive end, and sometimes you're responsible for the pitch. That time it looked like Shane Burton wasn't really quite sure of. Well, he was probably sure, but he didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Arkansas with his 14th first down of the day.
Sometimes you try to play off that quarterback and force him to pitch it so you can chase it, and he gives you a little clinch with the ball, and you're upfield, and he's turning it inside.
Razorbacks in the eye. Lunny looking left side, a man angling in. Tracy Caldwell over the 40 of Tennessee. Just a real quick little look in from outside. Botkin right behind him. And a first down at the 38. And again, Tennessee doing a great job now of stopping that fullback dive. Not much there on that play at all. Oh yeah, number 41 again. Corey Stone gave him a little help. Helps to have a linebacker like that when you lose starters up front like Jeff Tullis, J.J. Surlis, and All-American Todd Kelly, drafted by the 49ers.
And it's also good to have the leadership qualities that are embodied in a guy like Reggie Ingram.
Second down and 9. Lunny to Hebert, and he is into the secondary, down to the 25. Dexter Hebert suddenly come alive. 5 carries, 32 yards for the freshman. Lunny looks to the right side. Tracy Caldwell dives to make the catch. 11 of 15, averaging about 10 yards of completion. Second down and 3 at the Tennessee 18. Tailback Hebert picks it up. And that little delay will cost him the first down. He's going to be stopped right around the line of scrimmage because he had to concentrate on getting the ball back. Danny Ford says, holy cow, we're playing well, but we got to take care of the football.
And those are the little things that never show up in the box score that Danny Ford is trying to eliminate. Those little, well, it's not a big mistake, but just enough to kill you.
Arkansas 5 of 9 on third down today. This is a 3rd and 4. Fullback. Yes. Down inside the 15. First down Arkansas at the Tennessee 12. Trying to get back to within a touchdown. Hebert straight ahead. And he's down to the 8. Reggie Ingram with his 9th tackle of the day.
The tackle is made by Reggie Ingram and Shane Bonham.
Danny Ford's team mounting a drive here midway through the 3rd quarter. They gave up a quick strike as by Schuler after a turnover. Razorbacks down by 14, but on the move here, 2nd and 6, the 11th play of this drive. Lunny looking left, pitches, Hebert outside. And he was knocked out of bounds as he headed for the pylon. Sean Summers on the tackle. Arkansas will be very close to a 1st and goal. They're running up the middle. Hebert way up over there. That should be a 1st and goal for the Razorbacks down inside the 1. Dexter Hebert, a true freshman out of Beaumont, Texas, a 2-time All-Stater. He was an
offset the fullback. That time they just lined up in it and went that way.
Same formation. Hebert the deep man. Lunny under center. 1st and goal. Up over the top. Touchdown, Arkansas. In the 3rd quarter, when Tennessee scored a few minutes ago, they have been outscored 16-0 by their opponents. That indicates also their defense has been pretty good 3rd quarter this year. They will kick it away. Charlie Garner and Billy Williams, the deep men for the Volunteers. Ellison lets it fly. This one a good 6 yards into the end zone. Billy Williams says not this time. And Tennessee will have the ball at its own 20 with 6:42 to go in the third quarter after a very impressive 5.5 minutes, 74-yard, 13-play drive of the Razorbacks, capped by Dexter Hebert's 1-yard touchdown run. And the freshman has his second rushing touchdown of the year. Heath Shuler, plenty of time. Up the left side. Dean Peavy defending on Corey Fleming. No flag.
There's Joe Kynes looking on, a defensive coordinator, the man that was the interim head coach last year. And one of the fine defensive minds in the country. Joe Kynes spent some time in Tampa Bay, and now he's back doing what he really likes to do, this college football stuff. Arkansas going with 3 defensive linemen in the game. Now they're putting Adair down.
2nd and 10, Charlie Garner. And he was spun around by Shannon Wright, the middle linebacker. This Arkansas defense would have been even better had they been able to keep hold of Kevin Kemp, who had 102 tackles for them last year, but he left the team and returned home. Some of those other guys, though, getting some experience, playing awfully well, especially considering they're without Tyrone Chapman. 3rd down and 5 receivers for Heath Shuler. Look out. And he completes it to Faulkner. He gets ahead over the 35-yard line. Carl Kidd was the man that finished off the play. Steve Conley had a chance at the sack.
And this is what's great about Shuler. They come after him. He can't get it, but he's big enough. He just muscles his way around. Almost slips out the back door on him. I mean, Conley, stay up high, grab him, yank him down. It's probably the strongest quarterback Conley's ever tried to tackle.
First down at the 36. Little counter play, and Garner gets a yard or two as the Razorbacks. Vernon Wade, number 93, was all over him. Wade, a junior out of Lufkin, Texas.
As a coach, you know you're taking a chance when you come after him like that. And Joe Kynes came after him with everything he had, and it worked because Conley came clean. Nobody picked him up. Those are the times when you have to make the plays.
2nd down and 8. Under 5 minutes to go. A constant roar by the War Memorial Stadium crowd here in Little Rock. Shuler, plenty of time. Up the middle. Corey Fleming in traffic with the catch. And that's inside the Arkansas 35.
Well, that was just a mismatch from the word go. Great call by David Cutcliffe. They motion to spread formation, and they get Darwin Ireland man-to-man on Corey Fleming. And that's just not fair. If you get that kind of matchup, that's something that you want to check out of because you're going to have a hard time winning.
Fleming, 4 catches, 76 yards. That one good for 20. Shuler again. He's hot. Over the middle. Same man down to the 16 of the Razorbacks. We are seeing why Heath Shuler is the top quarterback in the SEC and number 4 in the nation passing coming in.
Fleming just made a great catch on the previous play. This time they're getting zone drops and the middle is wide open. Finally, Alfred Jackson reacts and brings him to the turf. These are cool customers, these Tennessee Volunteers. It takes a lot to get number 21 anxious, and Fleming knows where he's going all the time.
First down at the 16. Quick opener, Mose Phillips. Maybe a yard. Maybe a little more. Tripped up by Darwin Ireland, the weak side linebacker, the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. He almost had his number in tackles at Georgia last week. Number 16 had 13 of them at Athens. And he's number 11 on the all-time Arkansas tackle list with about 280 now. Second down and 9. Schuler looking left, a little swing to Garner, uncatchable. Had he caught it, Shannon Wright was right there.
And a great job that time by Mark Smith, number 44, the linebacker. He was running man-to-man with Craig Faulkner.
Smith, only a redshirt freshman, former high school quarterback, so he knows about pass patterns.
Yes, he does. And I'm telling you, this Tennessee receiver corps is well prepared by a guy named Kippy Brown. Used to be with the Jets.
Third down and 9. Schuler rolled left, looks right. He's got Fleming, gets outside of Waters, and he tumbles close to the first down. Orlando Waters got caught well on the Tennessee side of the line of scrimmage and had a man blow right by him.
There's Kippy Brown right there. Spent several years here at Tennessee as an assistant, and then was in New York for the last several years. Got a son that going to Tennessee on a basketball scholarship, so he's glad to be back here. He'll be a head coach one day. He understands the passing game. They've got quite a package at Tennessee. They can hurt you either way. Orlando Waters scoots back up there. He avoids the block of Ratliff, but then doesn't make the tackle.
See, that's what Danny Ford was talking about, keeping those guys in front of you. Orlando got caught a little bit inside. Corey Fleming having a huge day. 17 yards a catch, and it'll be 4th and 1. Get ready for the roar here. Ball is at the Arkansas 7. Garner, I'm not sure. Great penetration by the Razorbacks. Charlie Garner got that ball, and before he knew it, he was on the back of his own man, Bubba Miller. The Razorbacks surged beautifully in the middle of that line, and they will measure. This might be the biggest measurement of the season in the SEC right here.
And Schuler reverse pivoted on that. And of course, that's how the play is designed, but he almost didn't get around in time to get the ball to Garner. Garner was there in a hurry.
Arkansas holds. I mean, we're talking an inch or two. Job by Joe Kynes' defense on that flurry, and the Razorbacks down by a touchdown get the football back with 3:01 to go in the third quarter, stopping a 10-play 73-yard drive.
And they're still hanging around within striking distance.
Barry Lunny to the fullback. Don't fumble, don't fumble, don't fumble, says Danny Ford. He has seen that before down in this part of the field. And Calvin had both arms wrapped around that one. Let's have another look at that 4th and inches.
Schuler spins, sticks it in there to Garner.
See, Charlie, he never had a chance to get up in the air because he ran right into his own offensive lineman. Arkansas had pushed them back.
Great penetration there by Soley and Wade.
2nd and 7, a wobbler, and Barry Lunny is very fortunate that wasn't picked off, and he might have gotten his shoulder racked up on that one.
Cotton was the intended receiver. 3rd down and 7.
He had a man open momentarily, but when he was hit, this got dangerous. Little slap by our buddy Reggie Ingram.
Reggie's everywhere.
He had the stun gun on for that one. And it'll be 3rd and 7. So it was not Lunny getting his shoulder hurt, but he got his head spanked a bit. And it'll be 3rd and long for the Razorbacks at their own 10. play. Hebert straight ahead. How about that call on 3rd and 5? And a big hole for the freshman running back.
Those offensive linemen for Arkansas are excited. Isaac Davis gets a block on George Kidd, keeps him out of there. You see number 74, Strashinsky, jumping over the top. Good job of movement there. Don Strubing, a true freshman, in playing center.
What a job by Buddy King's offensive line that time. Running outside, J.J. Metters up to the 35-yard line.
J.J. almost had a chance to display some of that speed. Lenny throws this inside the linebacker, and now Parker finally brings him down. I think that Tennessee was actually bringing the corner. He was pulled in tight and looked like he was coming.
You know, we got the Sherman shake. I guess we've got the J.J. jam when he gets up. He is jamming all over the place. Here comes an end around. Metters got a block, but they were on the short side of the field out there, and there just wasn't any room to run after he got outside.
And that was Horace Morris staying at home. That's a play that was effective against Tennessee earlier in the year, as Horace had a tendency to chase the play a little bit, but great job by the young man from Miami staying home.
We've got a great ball game going here in Little Rock. 1.5 minutes, third quarter. Razorbacks down by a touchdown. 2nd and 6 at their own 39. Hebert fighting to get out to the 42. There was an initial hit by James Wilson in the left end. Ben Talley in to finish off the play after Wilson and Horace Morris, the bookends, sort of collapsed the line inward.
James Wilson really slashed down hard to the inside.
And it's Chris Oliver, the senior, getting up slowly.
He's their best pass blocker in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Chris Oliver. And he had some injury problems earlier in the year.
Their backup at that position is Scott Rivers, a redshirt freshman.
Actually, they're going to send, it looks like they're sending Brian Cornish into the game, and Cornish has some playing experience.
Yeah, at right tackle mainly, but he can play that left side.
You bet.
Cornish, a junior, injured earlier, but now back, and they'll need him on 3rd and 3. Lunny to the fullback. I don't think so. They had to get the ball out beyond the 45-yard line, and that will be well short. Now Lunny looks to the sidelines. I'm looking for Doyle Preston, and he's coming onto the field to punt the football.
Now, some people might feel that that's kind of a conservative call, but Tennessee was in a blitz. Well, not a bad call at all. If you pop that one, it's going to go a long way.
This is the last chance Arkansas will have to punt the football with the wind at its back as well. Last few seconds of the third quarter, but he wobbles it. He hopes for a bounce, but it doesn't matter because it was shanked badly right over the top of the Tennessee bench. That takes a sound piece of strategy and shatters it. Fourth quarter coming up. Vols by 7.
39-yard line.
Older to enter. We've got a great Lee Apparel SEC game of the week going for you this time. Fourth quarter. And Tennessee on first down. That is Charlie Garner off the left side.
Cannon Wright made the tackle.
Philip Fulmer called his team over to the sideline as they changed quarters, and we had a commercial. And
our Lee Apparel game summary after 3 quarters. Look how even the total yards are. Tennessee was averaging 477 coming in. Arkansas only 280. Mose Phillips on the reception.
Darwin Ireland.
So Philip Fulmer called the team over there and talked to them, I'm sure, about putting these guys out. Let's knock these guys out of here. This is too scary. We'll get this over with.
Life on the road in the SEC. 5 receivers on 3rd down and 6. Shannon Wright wants to blitz. And now we've got a whistle and a flag. Right guard Jeff Smith, number 74, appeared to pull up early.
I'm not sure they had enough players on the field.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offensive line.
Well, Jeff Smith, one of their more experienced guys, even though he's only a sophomore, started 12 games last year. Volunteers averaged 388 yards a game last season. But that'll make it 3rd and 11. Lots of time for Schuler. Up the middle. Ball deflected. Dean Peavy has it. His 2nd of the year. 7th of his Arkansas career. Ireland was the man defending on Corey Fleming.
Schuler's got a rocket, and he puts all the horsepower behind this one. Great job by Darwin Ireland. He had his hand in there. The ball pops up in the air, and Peavy is the recipient of that freebie. Good job, Dean Peavy.
1st down at the 47. And a couple of yards out to maybe the 49.
Excellent job by Ireland trailing Corey Fleming there. And Ireland has, throughout his career, been a guy that has come up with a big play at a critical point in time.
Second down and 8. A lot of time to go. Just under 14 minutes left. Lunny optioning left. Hebert got a late pitch. Then he juggled it a bit. And Barry Lunny took a shot from Ben Talley as he released.
The ball is at the Volunteer 47.
Barry Lunny, a man that can deal with the pressure in football, in baseball. Let it go. Defensively, you want the quarterback to know he's going to get whacked every time he runs that play. Now, Barry's mother has a different feeling about this. She doesn't like that kind of treatment to be dished out to her son, but that's the offense and that's the defense.
They're down and 4. Lunny, a quick pitch to Hebert. Great play on the corner. Victor Brown fought off a blocker, stayed home, and made the tackle.
And part of that is that you watch how early this one leaves. This one goes in a hurry. And part of that is, you know, I got a bad shoulder, and I mean, this is not what I enjoy. And so Talley is out in that play. There's no cutback lane anymore.
Well, the Razorbacks fail to take advantage of the turnover. Doyle Preston is the kicker. He's not kicking well today. A low line drive, and Sean Summers has it at the 16 of Tennessee. 12:51 to go. Volunteers with the ball back. They lead by 7. Well, there's a guy who's getting some hazard duty today. Is that a bungee cord or what? All right, Jimmy Reese, hang with us, buddy. 12:51 to go. Inside the 20. Nothing unusual for the Volunteers today. 7 of their 11 drives have started there. They get just over the 20 as James Stewart carries the ball. Well, Florida State hanging tough. They led 21-7 after 3. Miami with a field goal, but that high-powered offense has been stopped. Georgia on its way to a much needed win at home over Southern Miss. Second down and 4. Schuler to Garner. No, check it. It's Stewart. Leading the way on that left side was Jeff Smith. How about that? Mississippi State gave Florida a good tussle last week, and now they're giving Auburn all they want.
And they've got their offense on track, Mississippi State.
$1 a minute for all the latest scores in college football. 1-900-267-5757.
Another good job by Darwin Ireland on the previous play, filling that lead. You hear that pop up here.
First down at the 28. Schuler with play action up the middle, and he rifles it to Billy Williams.
Corey Fleming's on a takeoff. That's what Schuler looked for first. He's running. Dean Peavy stayed right with him. He looks deep. It's not there. Now he comes back over the middle. And Billy Williams had separated himself from Orlando Waters. And look at that. Zoom. It gets there in a hurry. There's not much time to make up any ground.
Billy up over 300 yards on the year with his work here today. Charlie Garner breaks loose on the corner. And on first down, he will turn that into big yardage. Came out of the JUCO ranks. He's from Falls Church, Virginia. Played out at Scottsdale, Arizona. 2,800 yards, 34 touchdowns there. 928 on the ground for the Volunteers last year.
And this year he's averaging 7.2 yards per rush. I mean, so he is a productive back.
Sets up a 2nd and 1. You got to watch out for Heath Schuler in this situation. But he will just give it to Garner. And they'll take the first down. Wrapping him up, Shannon Wright. Shannon a busy day on that strong side with Tyrone Chapman out with a hamstring. Charlie Garner now 14 carries, 62 yards after Wright stopped him there. First down at the 43 of Arkansas. Garner again. What a play that was. Henry Ford hasn't had many tackles today, but he stopped up a blocker that time and made the tackle as well.
Right, a clever little switch at the line of scrimmage. You see Darwin lined up on the outside, then jumped back inside. That made Henry Ford responsible for containment, and he took it. Good job by Ford.
Took on Jason Lehman, and then he made the tackle.
10 sacks. That's a bunch. He's tracking Billy Ray Smith's record for tackles behind the line of scrimmage.
And there's a great open field tackle by Orlando Waters on James Stewart.
Try to pop it out in the flat. Give Stewart some time to go, but before he can really get his sights adjusted, Orlando Waters is in his face.
Tennessee wants a timeout with 9:33 to go. First timeout the Volunteers have called all day long. Tennessee 21, Arkansas 14. We'll take a timeout as well on our Jefferson Pilot Sports Network and be back with more from Little Rock.
On top of Arkansas, the Tennessee offensive line has pretty much gone intact the entire day. One problem with the Tennessee team, they don't have a lot of depth in that offensive line, and now it's a gut check to see how much the guys have left.
Right you are, Bob. 3 redshirt freshmen and a sophomore among their 5 backup guys. James Warren, the only senior. And they face a 3rd and 5 at the Arkansas 38. This is the 8th play of this drive. Schuler on the screen to Stewart. He will get a block and get inside the 30 and down to the 24 for the Tennessee first down. Great call by Heath Schuler, as well as Phil Fulmer on that Tennessee sideline.
Yeah, with assistance from Phil Fulmer and Dave Cutcliffe and a couple other guys. And you're not going to see it on the screen here, but a great job by Jason Lehman taking down Shannon Wright, number 55. Shannon's trying to get there. That's his guy, and he got cut down by Lehman. Prevented him from making the play.
First down at the 24. Stewart running right into the back of Jeff Smith, regaining his composure and going ahead for a few more yards, and he's going to pick up about 8 on first down.
Talking to Steve Marshall before the game, he said Jeff Smith and that interior there with Bubba Miller and Jeff Smith have really played well this year. You know, he's happy with the progress of Jason Lehman at one tackle and Leslie Ratliff at the other. Kevin Mays, a defensive guy that's really coming along.
Lehman and Ratliff, both sophomores. Lehman replacing all-SEC performer Mike Stoll. Second down and 3. Razorbacks put the clamp on that James Stewart carry as Henry Ford was there.
Ford was out and around it before Stewart had a chance to cut back underneath. He's a preseason all-SEC player, number 92. Ford dives back to the inside. And excellent against the run. Most dangerous as a pass rusher. Going to be a fine player in the NFL.
Third down and 1. 3 tight ends in there for Tennessee. They've really got it stacked up. Mose Phillips for the first down. He just angled off the right side and got inside the 15, beyond the 14. And the Volunteers will move the chains with 7:43 to go.
A good job by Tennessee. Last time they were thwarted on a 4th and inches try, and that time they knock it in there. And there was no question about where they were going that time. Everybody's lined up on the right side.
12th play coming up of this 5-minute drive. They started back at their own 16. Out of the eye, Garner straight ahead. Puts that helmet down and squirts through. Vernon Wade tried to corral him, but Garner's down around the 10, maybe the 9.
Tennessee keeping the ball on the ground, not taking any chances with the football. The last time they had possession of the football, there was an interception on a tip ball. They're just going to run it. Joe Kynes trying to get his guys to dig in. They come after him this time.
Second down and 7. Garner again off the left side. You know, Tennessee has not been that much of a fourth quarter team this year. It's the only quarter in which Phil Fulmer's team has been outscored by its opponents 37-24. But the Razorbacks have been the guys that have come alive when that final gun's about to sound. They've outscored their opponents 32-7.
A lot of that, I think, for Tennessee, though, as you know, and Bob Kessler would tell us, that they're playing a lot of younger guys in that fourth quarter. They've got games put away.
Third down and 4 here. Schuler keeping, looking for the end zone. He will score. Heath Schuler with his second running touchdown of the day and of the season. And with 6:11 to go, Tennessee tacks on 6.
That was something that you saw a lot more frequently last year. I think this year they're trying to protect him a little bit. You can tell he enjoys it, but this was standard fare when last year Schuler had a lot of running touchdowns.
93 straight for John Bexford. A 14-play, 84-yard drive. And the Volunteers, with 6:11 to go, lead at 28-14.
In this area, especially when somebody like Schuler's running it. Tyrone Chapman has not been able to play for Arkansas, and it's kind of hurt him. There you see number 44, Mark Smith. Now, he should be attacking that play more upfield and forcing a decision earlier, but Schuler just runs it right in. I'm not sure that it would have made much difference.
That was a great block by the man in your screen there for a moment. 44, Mario Brunson, who sent the other 44, Mark Smith, reeling. 6:11 to go. Razorbacks will get the ball back. They'll be down by 14. Bexford. Forget it. That wind has been blowing all day from the north. At the back of the kicker from left to right. Nothing happening in returns at the other end of the field, and so the Razorbacks into that wind will try to get back in the game after Tennessee went 84 yards in 6.5 minutes. They've had some impressive drives today. They've had 2 80-yard drives and one of 84. Arkansas inside the 20. 6 of its 10 times starting out today. Barry Lunney with time up the middle, but he bounced it before it got to J.J. Metters. I wonder if that shoulder is bothering him and caused him to underthrow it a bit.
Well, I'm sure the shoulder bothers him. To trying to stick it in there when those guys now, they're playing pass defense now. And they're pass rushing. You know, they're not having to mess around with the run. They're coming after him, and he knows that. And those linebackers get a little bit more depth, so all the seams start to kind of squeeze shut.
2nd and 10. Left side toss. And that is Kirk Botkin, the tight end, with his 4th catch of the day.
Scott Gallion there. Jason Parker there. And they're double teaming Botkin. He just used his body, pushed up field, and then leaned into that inside guy and broke it to the outside. Lunney put it on the money.
80 catches for Kirk in his outstanding career. And here's a very important 3rd and 2. The deep man Hebert puts his head down, and he had to get to the 30. And it appears that he might have just made it. That's an easy one for the officials because they know they started right at the 20. Doesn't require a measurement. And Arkansas will move the change with 5.5 to go. But Tim, if they have designs on tying or winning this game, they've got to get a pretty quick scoring drive here.
That's exactly right. And they scored a couple of times right near the end of the game against Georgia, though. One of those was a turnover was involved, but you know, Metters can fly.
Lunney with a little toss, and Oscar Gray on the reception out to the 35-yard line. Arkansas has all of its timeouts remaining. 5 minutes and running now. Tennessee has used one of its timeouts, and they'll go with a no huddle.
But it's time to test them downfield a little bit with 4:40 left to go in the game.
A little longer that time. Metters on the sideline, and he'll get out of bounds. Into Tennessee territory, down at the 43. Nice route and a great throw by Barry Lunney.
You know, and Ronald Davis, #1 for Tennessee, of course, is thinking security, think deep. That may be a little bit too deep. And if he was supposed to get help from underneath from Jason Parker, he should talk to him a little bit. Direct him out there, Ronald. Say, get out wide. Got a guy on the sideline.
22 yards on that play. First down at the Tennessee 43.
You know, Lovie Smith is the secondary coach of Tennessee, and he does a great job working with these guys. Some of them haven't had much experience.
Similar play. Metters has it at the Tennessee 31.
Now that time it was clear that Parker was coming from the inside, and that Ronald Davis is counting on him to get there. Horace Morris tries to spin underneath. Lunney focusing in on Metters. He breaks it out. The cornerback expecting help from the safety underneath.
His 4th catch of the day, 62 yards in receptions. First down at the 31. Arkansas has the back split wide. They both go into the pattern. Up the middle. A little low and outside sinking fastball to Kirk Botkin. And there was some good pressure on the left-hander.
Right, and there was a sinking lineman in Barry Lunney's face that time. This is not a soft surface. This is not a peaceful way to go down. Horace Morris coming from the left side this time. Yo, boom. Lunney's been courageous this afternoon. Hung in there with that bad shoulder.
16 of 22 for 173 yards. Second down and 10. And a drop right. Oscar Gray with some room out to the left side. Get down to the Tennessee 27-yard line. Clock continues to run. 4:15 to go.
One good thing, it's good to see Chris Oliver back there at that left offensive tackle spot. Good to see his knees feeling better.
Arkansas spends the timeout. Their drive continues when we do. Saturday. And here in War Memorial Stadium, Little Rock, 4:15 to go. Tennessee leads Arkansas 28-14. Razorbacks face a 3rd and 5. They're 9 of 16 on 3rd down today. Barry Lunny floods the pattern. Ball is tipped. Shane Burton, a tight end last year. He was a 3rd stringer, played 12 ball games. Former All-American defensive lineman and tight end out of Catawba, North Carolina.
And they're trying to stick it in here to Kirk Botkin. You see number 89 on the right side of your screen. Little push off now. There comes the ball, but nice job by Shane Burton.
Well, Razorbacks have no choice. They've got to go on 4th and 5. This could be the ball game for them right here. Lunny, and that run is intercepted. Scott Gallion with the pick, and he's into Arkansas territory. Gallion, a sophomore who backs up at middle linebacker behind Reggie Ingram, gets the INT. And then 42 yards on the return. Botkin again, the intended receiver.
Try to get it to Botkin. The ball is underthrown, and Scott Gallion comes up with the catch. And now he starts to boogie. Hey, this is fun, Mom.
First down at the 43. Garner, the carrier. Hanging on for dear life was Henry Ford. Had him wrapped around the ankles. And now for Tennessee, it's a matter of holding on to the football and heading east from Little Rock with a record of 5-1, 3-1 in the SEC, with a huge one looming next week against the Crimson Tide in Birmingham.
Certainly a different Arkansas team than we saw against Alabama.
And of course, the Tide, smart scheduling. Yes, they take this week off before that game next week. There are differing schools of opinion on that sort of thing. Some feel you want to be in full stride. Some coaches like to have that week off before the huge ball game.
I think it's always best to have a week off. I mean, you got to rest your players, especially in a league where the competition is this stiff. They probably even had a little extra time because didn't they play on Thursday night against South Carolina? So they'll have a good 10 days off. And
that was a Saturday night game.
Oh, was it a Saturday night game? Yeah. So they start to wear down at some point, and now they got a chance to get healthy. Rest the people that they need to rest and spend time concentrating on this sparkling Tennessee offense.
First down at the 31. Garner, the carrier. They'll get inside the 30. So let's check out what lies ahead for the Vols. That big date at Legion Field next week, and then they have a week off before they host South Carolina. They'll take on that cocky bunch from Louisville early in November. We'll find out how good Schnellenberger's team is that day, maybe.
Well,
they go to Kentucky and finish against Vandy. Razorbacks, as we told you, in Jackson, will televise next Saturday, a week off, then Auburn. November dates with Mississippi State, Tulsa, and LSU. Second down and 8. Schuler ahead, and he's got David Horn, his tight end. That's only Horn's 7th catch of the year. A sophomore out of Jonesboro, Georgia.
Got a little bootleg here. Schuler takes it to the outside and pops it to Horn. Schuler's just a fantastic athlete, but you can bet Brother Bill Oliver, the defensive coordinator at Alabama, is scribbling out some things right now, and he's going to show Schuler some things, some coverages he hadn't seen before.
Arkansas spends another timeout. 1:55 to go. Vols by 2 TDs. Carpenter with Tim Foley and Bob Kessling, our Jefferson Pilots SEC football crew. Looking ahead to the Razorbacks and the Rebels next Saturday. Tennessee with the football, 3rd down and 1 at the 22. Schuler with an eye behind him will just go straight ahead. And he appears to have the first down, which should just about put a cap on this one. And the Fulmer about to go 9-1 at the helm of the Volunteers. Of course, he's used to winning When he was an offensive guard from 69 to 71, Tennessee had a record of 30-5 those 3 years.
And as an assistant coach here, he's been an assistant coach for 13 years, assistant head coach for 5, then offensive coordinator for 3.
And a first down at the 20. Schuler for Stewart, breaks a tackle, and he'll get down around the 15-yard line. Well, Florida State playing very well against Miami today, Tim, and is there any comparison at all between Heath Schuler and Charlie Ward in regard to the Heisman race? They're really different kinds of quarterbacks, but is Schuler in the hunt, in your opinion?
I'm not sure. I think that Charlie Ward came out of the box a lot stronger. I think that, you know, he had been around for a while. I think the glamour of playing basketball also helps the allure and the grandiose image that's created around the Heisman. I think Schuler is an excellent quarterback.
And Florida State has beaten Miami 28-10. No question at all who's #1 in the country. Bama right behind him.
And I think that's another thing that counts. You know, your team is #1 in the country, and that's going to make a difference in some people's minds. And I think that Schuler will be back next year. I think, you know, there's occasionally some talk that drifts around Knoxville that he may be going to the pros, but I think that would be silly. I think he's grown a lot this year, and he's got a lot more to learn. Danny Ford, he's got to be proud of his football team. They have played so much better this week, and they did fight back. Now, I know he doesn't interested in fighting back. He's interested in winning. But I think they've put on a respectable display this afternoon.
And Schuler will kneel on it. Final 20 seconds of the game, and Tennessee will win it 28-14. They got it done when the team they were visiting played them very tough today. So hats off to the Razorbacks. But Tennessee goes 5-1, 3-1 in the league with the win. We're back after this from your local SEC station.
The real Yellow Pages from Southern Bell.
The Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week was brought to you by Lee Apparel. With regular, relaxed, and loose-fit jeans, Lee is the brand that fits. By the Lincoln Mercury dealers in the Southeast, who invite you to take a good look at Mercury Sable. By Lowe's Home Improvement Center, helping to add value to your home. By Winn-Dixie, the low-price leader. And by the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, the vision to power your dreams.
Good day.